We now return to the Phoenix Festival on Much Music.
watch me die. I can dream, I can dream, I can dream about someone else. I can love, I can love, I can love, oh, love someone else. My darling, your eyes see through me. You think you hate the way I live. I'm screwing your dreams now. So cynical at your expense. Oh, what a sacrifice. All of my dreams were bound to wait. Oh, who's so special now? No one's more special. More than me. More than me. I can dream, I can dream, I can dream about someone else. I can love, I can love, I can love, oh, love someone else. I can dream, I can dream, I can dream about someone else. I can love, I can love, I can love, oh, love someone else. My savior, my darling. My savior, my darling, I can dream, I can dream, I can love, love. I can dream, I can dream, I can dream about someone else. I can love, I can love, I can love, oh, love someone else. I can dream, I can dream, I can dream about someone else. I can love, I can love, I can love, oh, love someone else. I can dream, I can love, I can dream,
Sweet Colleen Mulligan, what am I to do? Oh, my sweet Colleen Mulligan, what am I to do? Oh, my sweet Colleen. Oh, my sweet Colleen.
So, Martin, tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
There's so much to tell. I mean, it kind of depends what you want to know. I was born in London. My parents are Irish and African, and I grew up in Northern Ireland. Kind of within a few months of being born, I grew up in. I went back to Ireland, and that's where I grew up. Lived there until I was about 18, and then came to London again.
Is there any black Irish community to speak of?
Community's not the right word. Yeah, there's a few black people there. I mean, black people get everywhere. Apparently there are black people living in an area of Ireland called the Gaeltacht, which is where Gaelic language is the first language. So, you know, black people are everywhere, but not really in numbers in Ireland. There's not really the kind of economic attraction or historical link with colonialism with Ireland for black people to be going there.
And tell me a little bit about the invisible history
of the Black Celt.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that works on two levels. It's a reference to my personal history and my own kind of personal experiences in Northern Ireland, and it's also a reference to Ireland's ancient history, because not a lot of people know that the first indigenous group of people to live in Ireland were actually Africans, and a lot of Ireland's cultural and even in a lot of the kind of genetic blood group stuff, you can still trace African genes, but essentially the culture is an ancient African, comes from an ancient African culture. Yeah.
So, double-barreled question then: how do you see yourself fitting into the African musical tradition, and how do you see yourself fitting into the Celtic musical tradition?
Well, for me, I mean, what's really clear on an Irish level, there's a tradition of Irish artists being very personal, and you know, not pandering to kind of cliches. A lot of the kind of Irish artists that kind of have gained some respect, people like Sinead and Van and, you know, Christy Moore and people like that. Their work is very personal, and I think I kind of fit into that in a sense, as my work is personal and I kind of deal with my own issues. And in an African sense, it's you know, a lot of the work is based on my experiences as a black person, and you know, how it feels to be black in the West, and how it feels to be black as an Irish person, and you know, all of those things. So, you know, it's African in that sense. It's African in the sense of maybe the same way that kind of Public Enemy or any other kind of Western contemporary African artists are. Yeah.
Now, these two musical streams, are these things that have just bubbled up organically in your music, or have you said at a certain point, I want to mix African and Celtic music?
It kind of happened organically, and then the further along the project I got, the further through writing my album I got, I just decided to kind of go whole hog and just, you know, bring everything that I wanted to bring to the project. So, you know, I used a lot of heavy guitars. I used some folk, because that's a big influence on me. I used some traditional Irish instruments. I used African percussion. You know, I brought everything to it that I wanted. You know, there's a lot of funk in there. I'm really influenced by rap and jazz. So, you know, I just decided to bring everything to it, and the themes kind of, they arranged themselves in the work. Yeah.
Revolution. I was burning up blue, swinging on a hot fool, eat about looking for the exit, clear and overproof. It came like a backseat revelation in a Belfast taxi. I need love in my veins. What I got right now is a Babylon state of mind. My state of mind. Babylon state of mind.
We'll be right back with more from the Phoenix Festival after this.